put so far. Just beginning the process.
I know.
Kind of delivers out there.
Trying to be politically correct here.
Yeah. You know my
homework.
So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's got a huge greenhouse. So, I'm a 6-month farmer. I start in May.
Okay. Ready whenever you guys are. Hi there. Sorry, I'm Mel Rao. I'm one of the deputies here. Carmel is delayed. She was actually out of town last night, so she'll be arriving shortly. And I think what we'll do is we can start off. Maybe Sarah, if you want to give them a quick update on maybe some stats, and then we'll go into the key points from last meeting. Up to you entirely what you want to do. Okay. I'm going to start with roll call. Sure. Let's do it. Okay. Can the callers on the line hear us? There's one. It might be me. Okay. Okay. Ashley Oldham.
Making sure her son has.
Courtney Bailey. Raymond. Jimmy Lynn. Harrison. B. Mendelker.
Here.
Moe.
Not
Okay. Patrick Sellers. Ron Edwards.
Here.
Will Emerson. I see a few other people. What's your name?
Josh Hartman.
Hartman.
ARTMAN, Hartman.
Okay. And you?
Marty, L-I-T-Y, Klein, C-L-E-I-N.
I got your email system, yes.
Awesome, thank you.
Is there anyone else on the line who I didn't get? Okay, and then we also have Janelle here, and Curry here, Sarah Jeanette here, and from Sixa. Okay. Good. Okay. Sarah, you want to go over the key points? Or,
Sure. Okay, so
they're on here. Was it October? No, it was November 3rd.
November 3rd.
No, it was November 3rd.
It's kind of all blurring together. We talked about a few things, setting up training, putting together a nursing meeting, which we haven't done yet. I apologize in advance.
I met with Julie if she came out tonight.
Okay. Because the regulations dropping, starting our notification for the fire. So we're busy every day with cannabis. Making progress. Work on defining what will be, making have a way for staff declaration, continuing discussion regarding seed cataloging and reporting back to the board in January or February. So that's a little of what we talked about last time. I just want to give you a quick update of some things that we've been working on. So right now we have 59 permittees that have been approved and given to our office and enrolled. And we'll probably get a new number or more names since we're back from break.
Do we have a number since December 18th?
I don't think so, because they might, but we did our last enrollment and training on the 10th or 11th of December.
Are you talking about enrolled in track and trace, or are you talking
Yeah, because there was a letter that went out. If we can go over it, about wanting people to go back, because originally when we were talking track and trace, the training was that you would enter information when you started planting again. So there's a lot of confusion with the letter that went out on December 18th saying that, no, you have to go back and retroactive, and a lot of people don't have that information.
So we're doing two things. One of them is the retroactive catalog, and that's for people that want to stamp product. Some of the people that are coming into the program have packages that they want to stamp, and so the way you have to be back, so they've created a simple way to do like essentially a mass declaration at the front end to say, you know, out of planting, and just list all the products you have on hand. So it's essentially like planting, but really it's a declaration of all catalog of everything that you have. So anything you produce in 2017 that you still on your farm and you still want to stamp, you can.
So if you want to, that was kind of an advisory if you want to get in on that.
So-
There was a lot of panic.
But yeah, some people still have products that they're bagging,
product.
they're stamping, they're doing all of that. So it's kind of like, think of it as a mass plan, a mass declaration of what you have on hand when you enter the system. Then the second one is we implemented the batching model. So what we're doing is when you do a planting, you just have to tag the first plant of that strain. So if you have 3 strains, you're going to have 3 tags. And if it's outdoor, we're recommending they put the tag on the first plant of the row. And indoor, you can put it on a stick or on a bed, kind of whatever you want to do. So we've transitioned to just the batch and lot method. You don't have to tag individual plants anymore. And the notice has gone out to the cultivators.
With the state, it'll require.
Yeah, so you're still going to have to buy your individual tags. We're trying to save you some money on it. So for us, you don't have to tag it at each individual plant. Really, you're going to be tagging all your products. That was the working group, as no one wanted to do individual plant tags, so we've taken it and we've implemented it. So on our end, you have to do that.
We were talking that SICPA would be the portal through. So in other words, the concern was if you're going to be entering into 2 systems, so how is the SICPA going to keep track of all your, so SICPA interface will keep track of all your individual state tags also?
We are currently reviewing the API that the state has available to us. And at this point, we believe that there is a way for us to do that, but we do have discussions with the state to make sure that we doesn't have that information correctly, so we're working on that.
And have you made any headway with Metric letting you do manifest transfers, or we'll find out on the 24th?
Right now, it looks like that's still a gap.
Right.
And we will be addressing that with each of the jurisdictions to try to help them get some leverage to the state and have that added as part of the API. So the concept or the idea from the jurisdictions and from us is we make everything as one-stop shop as possible. So the fewer amount of times you have to go in and enter redundant data, the better. Because the state is, a little behind. It's unclear when exactly all of that will go into play.
Okay.
But that is the vision for the future.
Yeah, and right now the state is just an invoice-based track and trace. Right now, so
we were finally given the specs on their API, which is the data that
saw those,
earlier this week. So we had started to analyze that and figure out into what we had available on our site.
I signed up in the same vendor thread, so I'm getting that information to stay on top of what's going on. So if I'm understanding it correctly, then the way that we're going to go forward with the county track and trace system is we're still hoping for change from the county, and that the operator will have one interface. They will somehow put in the SICPA QR code. It will also keep track of the RFID or the barcodes of individual plants. And will that generate a report, or that report will have to be in the third-party software?
Right now, whether you're going to start with the SICPA QR code or the state RFID code is undetermined. It depends on the determination if you're going to, if you have to tag every plant, we would prefer for you not to have to duplicate that information with us. So if you can tag every plant to the state, then we can hold your RFID code, and great. But we're not, like I said, we can't commit to anything yet because the state hasn't yet told us for sure we will be able to activate those tags for them.
Okay, and so
we're working that further. Hear you, and yes, we would love to work that direction.
One part of the update, so we've launched our facilities. We also are required to be in track and trace. So we'll start enrollment and training for the other license types in mid to late January. So that will include all of the gamut.
And those of us who are on the working group and in the administrative permit process, is it possible for me to get updates on those trainings so I could attend those to see how it's working with actual owners?
Sure.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's anything else as far as if the group wants to talk about anything or anything that was reviewed from the last meeting or any current updates. Sarah and I were talking about it this morning. We're kind of in abeyance until the state has something.
Until the 24th.
So we're kind of saying we apologize for really not having much to say, but I would open it up to any of you if you wanted to communicate or discuss.
I'd like to see, was your product in track and trace system? Did you have a track and trace manifest?
No, we're not in the, we're enrolled for regulatory.
So we're, unfortunately, our new license launched like right before the holidays, so there was really no opportunity to enroll anyone. And so now that we have our first batch, that's what we're doing right now, is getting all of that information, then hopefully having them contact and enroll and generate and train.
Okay, because it seems that we need to have law enforcement in this group, just for somehow to get them, because, or just to understand how this track and trace is going to work, so that if somebody has that information, we've seen that the confusion, I know we're in 2018 now, but everybody said, well, we'll see, it'll get clear in 2018. So I'm just saying that the purpose of track and trace is to protect the county so that you know what's going on, and to protect the participants so that they know that there's a product going. But if law enforcement is not involved in this, they can just say, well, we didn't recognize.
Law enforcement has been involved, so I think that that's a bit of confusion on folks' part. We have other groups outside of this. So we've had an enforcement working group since the initial,
and they have access to check anyone that's currently enrolled in the program. We're going to expand and make sure that they have everything that they could possibly ever want.
Sarah will be working with dispatch so that they also have access not only to track and trace, but or to track it to Aumentum. Aumentum is the business license portion of it, so that they can just look it up immediately if the deputy's out, on wherever. But that's with the sheriff. We work with other law enforcement agencies, yes. That's not to say that we won't, but it would have to be, willing to participate.
Duly noted, and we are doing everything possible.
Because I know one of the things is we have a problem that we know that we need to address.
We're going to make as much information available to all of them again, and make
everything we can
easily accessible. Even if it were CHP, they could call, if they were calling into dispatch would have access to that information.
So that's something, so maybe as stakeholders, we should be working with CHP to make sure that they are in contact, putting pressure on both directions. Then, because I think the one-sided is not working very well. And so I'm trying to find ways that as the stakeholders, we can be invested to push also to make sure that things work instead of kind of hoping.
I think any amount of communication is helpful. I'm not sure at the CHP level who that would be, but I do know that there will likely be conversations from the state.
The state liaison officer, so.
Yeah, exactly. And if they don't ask,
we hear you, so
we hear you. And if the information is in the system and you have a business license, it's readily available. You could even pick up the phone and call the treasurer tax collector, they could verify it. So it's.
But I mean,
they don't ask.
We're off hours because.
That's why you can log right into the system and there's no hours there. There's 24/7.
Yeah, we are working on training the dispatchers, and they'll be trained. And hopefully they'll use it.
So are we going to have a kind of a incident follow-up of where we had a breakdown in what happened instead of just, it's not me, I don't know.
Probably not in this group.
Track and trace. Because it's really not a track and trace issue. Trace may have.
We would know product is.
Could have helped. I mean, it could have. The deal would have been the travel manifest. It would have been. So the idea.
Ourselves and provided them to them. So.
Yeah.
Because that was the part of track and trace, is you'd have a man, although it was clear that it wasn't getting anywhere, but the system kicked it out. So I'm just trying to make sure that now that we're here in 2018, we know what didn't work in 2017.
Anything we can do to learn from that, and anything we can do to help educate law enforcement, we're happy to.
Like we said, we're going to do every single thing we can on the administrative end to make a good environment for our permittees and licensees. And things happen, yes, and we're doing our best to try to give them the resources they need and to try to support this program.
They have access to it. We want to make sure that that's also.
On Tuesday, the sheriff's office, my lawyer asked us to go to the treasurer tax collector to provide the license to them. So if they have the ability to pull that license, I'm not aware of it right now.
And that, yeah.
But there's,
So this is why I am so on this, because
I agree, because, you know, there's a lot of people that work in a lot of departments, and not everyone's cross-trained, and not everyone knows what's going on, and there was that communication breakdown, and we're going to work on fixing it.
Yeah, it's a problem because it affects people's livelihood and paychecks. On the administrative end, it's an administrative thing. We're going to fix that. But for the person who's lost livelihood, it's not just a simple issue. I mean,
and I think that this goes even beyond access to the information. So I think that the more we can talk about it, the better all of us are. From the county's perspective, we are more than willing to assist in any way we possibly can with any of the law enforcement agencies. We obviously work very closely with the sheriff.
So how do we follow up on the Tuesday of what he had to do? How do we, I know that's not part of track and trace, but it was a communication issue. I guess that'll be.
No, actually, I don't know who you talked to at the sheriff. You know what I mean? All we can say is they need to be trained. They need to be educated.
And
really do.
Work with that to make sure the sheriff gives everything that they need.
You follow up and say, here's the kind of what we've heard from this group that might be a communication disconnect. What can we do to make sure that that doesn't happen again?
And make sure all the levels.
Put it on them. What can we do?
And all levels of the sheriff's office have the current information, because like, unfortunately, any government entity, there are levels. And it's,
I just don't think it trickles down.
I guess I come from the private sector to where there's a follow-up, and there's a report that I would get back on my desk of, okay, there was a problem here, this is who handled it, this was who communicated it, and this is how it was resolved.
So again, that's the sheriff's office, though. It's the sheriff. Again,
I'm trying to find out how this works.
He's an elected official, so we do have a very distinct working relationship. I'm actually the liaison from the executive office to public safety. So I would actually, what I would do, here's what I would do. I would sit with the sheriff himself and probably the undersheriff and say, here's what I heard. You know, relevant truth. What can we do to make sure that that doesn't happen again? And then they can work through their command staff, and then they can work through dispatch, and then we're already going to be taking care of dispatch because we know that that's a missing link. But are there other missing links? Why were you, if you were directed to go to the treasure tax collector, why was that the case when there is access? And maybe the sheriff or the undersheriff didn't know that. So we will make sure that they do, though. And there's a methodology that we can help with that maybe, it's a white paper.
Maybe a flow chart.
A flow chart, something that says.
And so that it's real easy, so that everybody knows.
After hours, here's what you can do to verify. It's there.
Yeah.
Public information. There's a portal. We're not hiding anything. It's transparent.
And that would help for our attorneys. It would help for us so that we know that, okay, if you have an encounter with law enforcement, this is the deputy, and the deputy needs to communicate back to dispatch, and dispatch, just so that we all know where this flow is. So there's none of this that, we should go talk to them and they don't know what's going on.
Well, it's not public.
But it can be, because we have one.
No.
There's a base that you can do because it's
Not tracking. Not
the track it one.
This is brand new. There's one king.
The Arlington one?
Yeah.
We're just so you guys know, we are the pilot for this business license module for
Momentum is doing a pilot program here to actually do a cannabis-centric software for licensing.
Because there was none in existence.
The closest one in existence was City of San Francisco, Kansas County.
With industry people to find out.
No, this links property. It's a multi-system link there. It's a business license portal, so all of our business licenses are going into it, regular and cannabis. Also has a section on property tax. Essentially, when it's fully integrated, it handles a lot of things.
And
there will be a public.
Who's the vendor for that?
Momentum. They are live in the City of San Francisco. Actually, they are live in most jurisdictions, actually.
But for the cannabis business license, we're the first.
Because usually you're integrating, I don't even know how to do everything. You can find your property, you know, information you need for your property. It's going to be great.
But we are guinea pig, we're
I heard
guinea
that.
pigging it, yeah. We're guinea
So
pigging it
it
for the
looks good
state.
in San Francisco, so hopefully it'll be somewhere finished, but.
RFP that I could request for that contract.
It was done through so there was a major RFP done that was done for the replacement of the property tax system. And this is a module that's associated with it. That was done
About a long time ago.
3-4 years.
You've been on the wait list for like 2 years.
Yeah. For our property tax.
But the cannabis part of it is new.
It's a module of it, so they were able to take their existing business license module and customize it for our needs.
I guess what I want to look at is I want to look at what the county specified, what they want to see this software do, so that I have that in my.
It wouldn't be there because we did an RFP and included that as the business license module, and we purchased the software, and then we requested specific
But you
changes
could
to the
you
software.
could get the information. Sherry has
Sherry will give
everything.
it to you.
Okay.
Sherry has everything.
Okay.
When that go live?
They've been working, well, they were here when,
I think that everyone got trained in August and September, so it probably was.
and then working through and converting, I mean, because it's not just, they're converting all of our business license information, so.
Taxes, but,
Yeah.
and so that's what we've been using as we issue the business license, and the business license number you get is actually, your unique number associated in your Mentum. So what we do for the business license section is we use Track It for your application process, and then when you're issued, it goes into Mentum, and Mentum it keeps your information for your business license, generates your tax information, and then the model ultimately will be integrated with our property tax system as well.
And then SICPA will go through that, and then to metric.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah, that's why I'm,
It is.
it's
I mean, it is a lot.
extremely frustrating of not knowing where everything goes here. And every time I think I've got enough seat time to understand how things are working, it's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
I honestly, this has been a roller coaster for 3 years for me. It's changing every day, and we're making progress, and we're trying to be flexible, and we're trying to things as they come up.
But, you should know this is how the state works. It's a frustration for us because what they say is, here's your mandate, now figure it out. So local level, this is new.
But see, I know that
And so we're just trying to fit it in, and it doesn't fit in. It's like, okay, square peg, round hole. How do we make it work for everybody? But that's why you guys are here. So this is really, really important because we know, okay, this doesn't work.
That's why I'm participating. I'm not just saying it's not working.
No,
I'm saying,
but we
hey,
wanna fix
these
it.
things, we need to make it work.
We want to fix it. So as you go through and you go, okay, hang on a minute, and talk to Sherry about that.
And we're trying to use the existing tools that we have on hand and customize those existing tools so that we can, not have to do.
And that's somewhat of a one-stop shop because, and I know that sounds, but without duplication of effort on everyone's part, including you guys. But if you could go to one central location to find your property tax information, your business license information, it's all uniquely identified, and it makes it that much more efficient for law enforcement. That's the key part.
So when someone books about something through Mentum, they need a license in order to do that?
Well, right now, there's not I'd have to talk to Sherry about front-facing portal right now. I don't know if that's live. On our end, for dispatch, we can give them a portal and allow them to be able to type in the business license number and verify. I don't know exactly the capability. I wasn't involved in the implementation, so Sherry would know more about any front-facing portals. But in terms of dispatch and looking at things, obviously cultivations and Track It and
from a Track It standpoint, we protect information that's owned by
Would there be a log of the lookup?
A what? A log of lookup?
People looking up licenses.
yeah, because it's associated with the person, so you can check their history.
Meaning how many times somebody actually searched for
You
it?
actually did it.
I don't know that, because that's software specific. I don't know.
I'm almost positive nothing's front-facing, because the part that ends up front-facing is when it's fully
But you're talking like if somebody
property
searched
tax.
here.
Like the sheriff.
That's what he's asking. I don't know if the software log.
Yeah, so when we train on Mentum, even if it's view only, everyone has a code. So,
But what he's asking, is there a log of who searched? I don't know that. Like Granicus, our board supervisor somewhere, that has a log.
They don't
It's
have-
an administrative log, so yes. I don't know that Augmentin does that.
They don't have access right now.
Yeah, I don't know. They wouldn't have, but if, I know what you're asking.
Yeah.
I know, so if someone called and said, could you? Sherry Schottenmeyer. Yeah.
So on the track and trace, I know that you're working in Humboldt. How will that SICPA and Humboldt interface through Mendocino, through Yo? Or are they all modularized? Are they all separated out? So in other words, if you have someone from Humboldt passing, so if someone from Humboldt is passing through Mendocino County in SICPA's track and trace, will that information be available to our sheriff here?
Depends on the full access that he's given to the system. So there are some roles that are given per jurisdiction, and there are some roles that are more wider and can see everything.
And they will be able to use the human readable code to type in that to verify.
Right, but I think that the human readable code is where we have the error, is where we need to have more of an accountability, as you were saying. Okay, did somebody actually look it up, or did they just say they looked it up? Those would be very important things for the integrity of the system.
Our phone number, county.
They put it in the software system in their platform.
Because I believe when we have our telephone on our manifest, but we can also put more information so that if anyone ever gets stopped, they can obviously call after hours. But
the problem is after hours because our counsel wasn't able to get a hold of the person who dealt with it, so that after hours thing didn't work very well.
I'm talking about dispatch.
She wouldn't have anything to do with it.
No, Kit wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Our county council, yeah.
But our counsel was quoted of that person that she needed to talk to, who aware of it, was not available at the time. I'm just
For her, I don't think that was
that was the quote.
Sarah and I could tell you there are 24/7. I'm one of them. My phone's next to me. She's the same way. Carmel is the same way. So I just think it was a disconnect all around. What we can really try to do is prevent it from happening again. There's not much we can do to go back because, we weren't there and there's that. But we can fix that. We can. Or we do what we can to try to educate.
A couple of questions. One, you talked a little bit about how cultivators are supposed to handle existing product that's not in the system yet. So last year's crop is going to market. Can you clarify exactly what they're supposed to do?
So we sent out an email, and we'll continue this in training and clarify with cultivators have questions. Essentially, they're declaring their product. And because you have to link back to a planting in the system, so they're doing like one large planting and declaring all the product that they have on hand when they enroll in the system, so they can stamp product from 2017. So any of the new cultivators that still have product from 2017, by the time they enroll, we'll be able to do essentially a mass declaration and get it in the system.
And it seemed like you needed a harvest ID, a planting ID, a harvest ID in order to have a product. So will that work consistent in the way you're talking about?
When you declare your product,
Yeah.
you start with the declaration and then you work through the harvest and such. If you have questions about how to do it, you can always call the support line and they can walk you through it.
Yeah.
They can help you through it so that you can get it, without having to guess.
I found it to be very easy.
Okay.
I did. And anytime I called, there was someone there to help. I didn't think it was that difficult.
Our help desk people try really hard to make sure that you're getting the support you need.
Yeah,
In a simple way as possible.
I was not on an official user yet, so they would not talk to me. But I got to work on that with my clients.
Are you coming into the training the next session, or have you gone?
I'm through the training.
Okay.
And my other question is SICPA going to have their own API?
Yes.
And where that at? Stage is that at?
It is in development, close to being tested. So we have some people that are testing it now. For instance, we have Illinois is starting to put in place the consumption of an API. And so that some of the pieces are being tested now. So.
And you're accepting applications from vendors to?
Not yet, but we're close. Yeah. What we can do is, I will take a note. We can send out through the jurisdictions when the API is available.
Okay, because I'm thinking how are other software vendors going to have access and time to get up and going with that? Because other vendors will definitely be at the state, are already working with the state, and it's the 24th when the state goes live. The state has already registered other software vendors to work with their API, so I don't know how far behind they will be in the SIPCA process.
I just depends on the vendor. I don't know what vendors you're...
So should they contact you? So in other words, there is a software industry out there that works with the cannabis industry through National Cannabis Industry Association. And so will you be making an announcement through them, or is that something that I should put out there that they should contact you?
I believe it would be through the jurisdiction. I can
That's way too much work to put on the jurisdiction. I think that is just beyond their realm of what it is. You are in that industry. I'll put it on my notes to take care of that.
I'm not sure.
And we can,
What
You guys couldn't do that.
we'll touch base with Julie as well, and Alex.
Who they are?
That's-
Yeah, because it seems like, the software business, the usual, there's different systems, is then you have another level of abstraction. So I can see that cultivators will probably want to have their own system that tracks what they need.
Absolutely.
And then we'll go into both systems. And I looked at both schemas, and there's a lot of math matches, things that aren't matched, and so I think it's going to be pretty difficult to do that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you do that.
Our team's doing exercise around their portfolio this week to run through the mapping, to see where they do map and where the gaps are. So now that the gaps have been analyzed, we can start to address those.
And do you have any sort of time on that?
We're at the mercy of the state right now. They had some user level training next week. Portions of our team will be attending, and then they have more API training coming up later in this month. So.
Yeah, I signed up for the Oregon part, which I know there's going to be differences, but they're farther along, and it's definitely a moving target right now, but we're doing everything we can to make sure that we stay as far ahead of power curves as data is available.
And then where is the county? I know we kind of talked over it shortly, but as nurseries, we have actually organized a little bit. Where is the county policy on nurseries going to match the state's policy on nurseries? Or is that going to be a separate meeting, or how are we going to work on the track and trace for nurseries?
I think it probably should be a meeting, and maybe we can do it this month.
I can get the nurseries us together to.
Holidays. Let's chat.
Okay, because I think we need to define the nursery a little better.
Yeah, and let's see if we can get a meeting between me, Julie, you, and any of the admin nursery folks.
Jed and Josh, yeah.
Yeah, in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? And I don't know do we know, what was Carmel's intent as far as the next meeting?
She wanted to set them up. She was thinking the first Thursday of each month, but she hadn't confirmed that with me.
We definitely should do the first Thursday next month because it's 24th.
Right.
And then actually the first state meeting is the 8th for this track and trace. So maybe the next one is the 11th in Humboldt, so maybe sometime after the 11th. That way we'll have a clear understanding of what the direction is. Well, a clearer understanding of what the state is going.
As clear as it'll, okay, for the other. We'll put that out there and then we'll confirm with everybody what works.
Send out an email.
Yep. Okay. If there's nothing else, call it a day for now.
Yeah, right.
Will be an exciting January and February.
Yes, for sure. And we will also, as we make progress, communicating with them, make sure that we.
And again, it would be nice if those are charged, if I could, somehow just flows from department to who gets what, because every time I think, who's responsible and where things go, it's like,
Does what? That wouldn't, we could easily throw.
Yeah.
And then
Subject
if
to
this,
change, because I will say, implementing, cultivation, implementing this. We're improving every day, and we're changing things. We can give you a general idea. Cultivation is pretty, I think we're stable.
yeah, if you ever have to, I'm happy not to.
We're working out the kinks with some transfer-only stuff, but I think we're almost stable on the other end of licensing.
Yep. Right. Thanks.
I'd like to say one thing. I do feel lucky to be in a county where we're sitting around the table and trying to take care of some of these things. Most counties, as you know, are in moratoriums, have multiple properties in different counties, and we're just, sitting back and waiting here. At least we're able to move forward. It feels really good.
Okay.
Hopefully in 120 days, the phones will be ringing off the hook for some of these cultivators who are praying that prices increases, supply diminishes, and thanks for working with us.
It's going to be, and we said from the very beginning, it's going to be interesting to see how this progresses through the entire, give it that next year. What is this going to look like a year from now? 2 years from now.
And we're committed to be very responsive. We're trying to push through the local authorizations, like as soon as we get them.
And continue with the feedback. Truly, we do want to make this work for you. You're the ones that are out there trying to comply, trying to make it work. So we definitely want to do what we can.
Well, and we as stakeholders have matured a bit.
Yeah, I think all of us have. We've all been educated, because we came into this not really knowing what your business is about. And now that we're listening to you and getting that, we want to make these systems fit your needs. So thank you, and thanks for being patient.